Okay, so Ray asked if I would show her how to darn socks. Except she and I live on opposite sides of the country, so I couldn't exactly show her how to darn socks. So I'm going to make a vlog about it instead, so all of you will know how to darn socks. So first of all, you need a dead light bulb, and a sock that has at least one hole in it. So you put the light bulb in the sock, and you push the light bulb up to where the hole is. Usually it's in the toe or the heel. See, that's my hole. And then I have a very long threaded needle with lots of thread on it. This is probably too long, but you go through a lot of thread darning socks, especially if the hole is bigger than that. So what you do is for the first row, then I usually go onto the inside of the hole so that the knot is on the inside of the sock instead of the outside. So I'm going to go underneath that first side like that and pull it through until the knot is right there. And then, and be careful not to stretch the sock, because if you stretch it out so it's really big like that, then when you darn it and then it goes back to the normal shape, then there'll be way too much thread there. So leave it kind of at its normal shape. And then you go across back to the other side and back across like this. Sorry, my thread's not even, it's messing it up. Okay, so I have a row like that. Can you see this? Because I have my computer tipped down so I can't see what it sees. There. Maybe that was red. Okay, so basically you keep going back and forth. Like this. And don't pull the thread too tight, because then again, if you pull it really tight, my thread is still messing up. If you pull it really tight, then it'll make the hole the wrong shape by the time it's fixed. So you want to leave it as much its original shape as possible. So once I get once I get to the bottom of the hole, then I'm going to go back up again and just try to make sure that all the rows are even, and there's no gaps between them. And usually when you do this, then it's impossible to keep the thread from pulling it a little bit, so don't worry about that, but just don't pull it really tight. And then once it's like that, then what I'm going to do is, instead of going crosswise, I'm going to go up and down. And so this is actually similar to weaving. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to go over and under all the threads. And I don't do it perfectly. I don't go over one and then under the next and over the next and everything like that. I just kind of do it in general, because it's not like anybody's going to see this. I just go under and over what I can. And I just go back and forth as much as I can to reinforce it. Like this one's only going to have like 5 vertical rows, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be kind of reinforced. So, and the edges brought together so that it doesn't fray anymore and make it any bigger. So I have that right there. And then I'm going to knot it. I don't cut my thread off and do a perfect knot or anything like that. I just do the easy knot. And I'm going to cut it. Okay, and then I'm also, so you see how it's drawing now. So now I'm also going to show you how to reinforce a thin spot in a sock. So this is the heel of the sock, and see how it's all frayed just down to the very thin part of the yarn. So I'm going to take this thread and I'm going to do a single one instead of a double threaded. I'm just going to do a single. And I always double or triple knot the knots at the end of my thread, just so that there's no possibility of it slipping through whatever material I'm working on. So, when you like this, then you can't get the knot on the inside, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the edge of it, and similar to when I was darning, I'm going to go up and down and weave the needle through the thin area. And then again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I try to do it a bit better than I do in the darning, more consistent. And then just go all the way across to the side. And especially when you're reinforcing like this, do not pull the thread tight at all, just barely till there's no extra at the end. You do not want to pull or pinch the fabric, because otherwise it'll make the sock smaller. So I'm going to go back again. And if the thin spot is larger than the length of your needle, then that's okay. You can just do a half and half at a time. And also for me, I don't try to match the color of the thread to the sock, because usually I have wacky socks anyway, like this one is, so it just makes them wackier. And on the toes and the heels, unless you're wearing like open-toed shoes or something and you're actually wearing socks instead of like stockings, then it really doesn't matter. I've used orange thread on gray socks before, so it really doesn't matter what color your thread is, because nobody's gonna see it except for you. And this will use up a lot of thread because of the large area that I have to do. So you'll have to change your thread a lot. So now I've got it so it's all the things are horizontal across it. And if the thin spot isn't that thin, then you can just do this and leave it, and it's fine. I've done that before. But if not, then you take your thread again and you go vertically, just like when we're darning. Then you just go up and down and weave your needle through the threads like this. And it's easier to do the exact ones this time, since they're farther apart. And when you wear the socks, then it won't feel just like it normally does. Sometimes you can feel the knots when you step and everything like that, and it'll feel a little bit different. But it's not that different. You can get used to it. But I do this to my wacky socks because I don't want to throw them away, just because they got holes in them. I want to keep wearing them until they fall apart. So this is what I do. And I gotta change my thread. So it takes some time. I'm just gonna stop now, otherwise the vlog will be really long. But it takes some time, but just keep doing it across until you get to the end. Then you can go back and do that part, or whatever shape your whole thing is. And then you won't have a hole in it anymore. So that's how you darn socks.